Right everyone, welcome back. So a few days ago, Ubisoft revealed the Year 8 Season 1.2 patch notes, and there is some interesting changes in it, such as Capcan losing the 1.5, Oryx also losing the 1.5, which I think is kind of justified, especially Capcan. Oryx was definitely targeted towards the console players, because my god do you guys love playing Oryx. But the thing in these patch notes which stood out most by far was of course the changes coming to Tachanka. I just want to quickly say as well, if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to subscribe as we are on the road for 50,000 subscribers and all your support means the world. So to quickly recap what the changes actually are, his Shumika launcher now has 20 projectiles up from 14, however they have actually changed his magazine size to only have 5 instead of 7. Yes, it is nicer to have more projectiles, but the reduction in magazine size is actually more of a nerf than this change is a buff. Now we're going to go into some more detail in a minute as to why this is a bad change, but firstly let's talk about the buff that is coming, which is arguably one of the biggest buffs to Tachanka he's ever received. And that is the fact that his primary SMG, the same SMG that Capcan and Azami have, is actually not only getting the 1.5 times scope, but also the 2 times scope. This is absolutely massive considering the fact that the 1.5 times scope is the biggest balancing factor currently in Rainbow Six Siege. Having a scope on that weapon, especially on defense, can pretty much make or break that operator for a lot of people. I mean, look at the other changes in this patch note itself. Capcan is losing it because he's that strong, and so is Oryx. And now they're also using it to help buff Womai and also Tachanka. And now not only is it the 1.5 times scope he's getting, he's also going to be getting the 2 times scope. And the only other defender to actually have a 2 times scope on their primary SMG is actually Rook. I know there's other guns that have more scopes like that as well on defense, like the TCSG or the Bosch G, but when it actually comes to like a fully automatic submachine gun, it's only Rook and now Tachanka that actually have the 2 times scope on defense. But if we're being honest, the VSN SMG which Tachanka, Azami and Capcan have is a lot better than the MP5 which Rook has. So it is pretty safe to say that the SMG that Tachanka has is going to be the strongest gun on defense which has the 2 times scope. So yes, this is a massive buff to Tachanka. His SMG, which has kind of been shadowed by his LMG since the rework, is now pretty much going to be the primary weapon which you're going to run on Tachanka. Listen, I know the LMG is flashy, I know it's cool, I know you can destroy walls and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, think how many times you've actually won a gunfight with that LMG. Compared to the SMG now having the 1.5 times scope and the 2 times scope, it's pretty much a no-brainer on what gun you're going to run. So ironically, even after he's been reworked, the weakest part of Tachanka's loadout is still his LMG. 99% of people are going to use the SMG. The 1.5 times scope and the 2 times scope are just that much of a draw in this game. Especially a lot of people who played Capcan for the 1.5 are just going to gravitate over to Tachanka now because it is the same gun with the same scope. So yes, it's now pretty cool. Tachanka has more fragging capability with this SMG. The 1.5 times scope and the 2 times scope make it more comfortable for a lot of players. I'm not going to act like I'm any different. I actually wanted them to add the 1.5 times scope to this gun. I actually said that in a tweet a few weeks before they actually done it. So although this does make Tachanka more of a viable pick now, this doesn't address the core issue, which was his Shumika launcher gadget. I do find it funny, even after he's been reworked, we're still talking about his primary gadget, but it has to be said that his Shumika launcher is good, the fire is good, it's a powerful gadget and people are going to get more play out of it since the SMG is more of a versatile weapon than the LMG, but based off these patch notes, it does kind of seem like Ubisoft don't actually realize what makes his Shumika launcher kind of mid, and in an attempt to buff the gadget, it seems like they have actually nerfed the part which was needing the buff to actually make the gadget better. And like I explained in the beginning, the buff that they done was they increased the projectiles to 20 up from 14. This is good. Any operator in this game having more utility is always going to be a good thing. That's never going to be bad. But never have I ever seen anyone complain about a Shumika launcher and say that the issue was the fact that there was only 14 projectiles. The issue with the Shumika launcher was the magazine size itself and how bloody long it takes to reload the weapon. As you can see in the gameplay I've got in the background, these are from like Terrorist Hunts by the way. The test server is absolutely dead. You cannot find matches, so I apologize that I have to play against slow AI, but that's the only games I could actually find where I could use Tachanka. But you can see me trying to use the gadget and I'm getting shot most of the time that I'm trying to reload it. Tachanka is an alternative to Smoke and Goyo. These 3 operators specialize in area denial and plant denial. When you're in those tense situations when you need to get that plant denial down, you don't want to be spending that whole time reloading this clunky launcher. And a lot of people rightfully felt that way, and that's why they never picked up Tachanka. They just stayed on the Smoke or the Goyo. Yes, to play Smoke, you do have to put your gun away, but it's much faster, it's much more flexible, and you don't have to stand with your weapon away reloading this gadget. Where with Tachanka, once that magazine is gone, he's got to stand and take forever to fill it up again. Now before, Tachanka had 14 total pellets, and a magazine size of 7, meaning in total he had 2 magazines, 2 sets of 7. Once he used the first magazine, yeah, it took forever to reload, but that was the only time you had to do it, because then you got another 7 from the next one. Meaning that to use all of his utility, you only had to go through 1 reload cycle. However, now since they've upped him to 20 pellets, but reduced his magazine to 5, 1.5, if you want to use all of his utility, you must go through that long ass reload animation 4 times. So the major issue with Tachanka's gadget, which was holding him back, Ubisoft in these patch notes have just made even worse. Yes, I do think the SMG changes are pretty cool, but you aren't addressing the actual issue with Tachanka. I think you should have given the 1.5 on the SMG, I agree with that. Maybe the 2x scope shouldn't really have been put on, but I guess they're just doing it to try and get people to play Tachanka. You know, it's a really big flashy thing having a 2x scope, but you've kind of just nerfed his gadget even worse and making it even more clunky. But with this buff to his gun and this nerf to his gadget, they've kind of just made Tachanka a fragging operator now, where he's going to be picked for his gun over his gadget 99% of the time. And I'm not hating the fact that they added scopes to his weapon, but I think we should address the issue with the gadget as well, and then we should start buffing his guns accordingly to that. I actually really agree with the change that Bikini Bodhi proposed, and that is just make his Shumika launcher have all the ammunition at once, make him not have to reload the gun. And I think they should just make it back to 14 projectiles. I don't think that was the major issue, but just make him have a magazine size of 14. Now they actually show off a graph showing that Tachanka can deny the most time now out of Smoke and Goyo with his new changes, and I do agree that it is absolutely insane that Tachanka can deny up to 140 seconds of time with his Shumika launcher, but looking at these 3 operators, even though Smoke can do the least of them, he's still probably going to be more picked than Goyo and Tachanka. And I'm not calling Goyo bad, by the way. Goyo is extremely slept on, and I do understand why they upped his projectile count, because according to this graph, he has the least area denied, therefore it's only fair that he has the most time for it. But we've seen time and time again, it doesn't matter if this operator has better stats than the other operator when they're doing the same role. If one of them simply is less clunky to play and more fluid for the player, they're going to pick that one. So it is cool that he has even more of an advantage over Goyo and Smoke when it comes to time denied, but I just think when we're going to be in those matches, the fact that he only has 5 per magazine is going to be a major factor to people still not playing him for his gadget, rather than just going to be playing for his gun because it's got the 1.5 and 2 times. But I still don't really understand why they upped his projectile count anyway, because even before this change, he still had the longest time denied compared to Smoke and Goyo. Yes, it's more significant now, and I did say earlier that any more utility for an operator is never a bad thing, but when that buff is completely undermining the actual issue that the gadget has, you're going in the right direction, but you're going down the wrong path. So we're 100% going to see Tachanka's pick rate go up when this update comes out. You're going to get the people who use Kapkan's SMG with 1.5 times scope as a crutch jump over to Tachanka. It's the same weapon, they're used to it, they probably like it. You're going to see so many more roaming Tachankas around the map now. They're not just going to be in sight, they're going to be playing aggro, they're going to be swinging corners, they're going to be spawn peeking. And yes, this will in turn see his gadget be played more than it currently is. I just don't know if that was the right direction for Tachanka to go in. And I'm also just really interested to see where the LMG is going to fit into all of this. Because let's be honest, no one's really going to use the LMG now that the SMG has these scopes. Unless they buff the LMG or start removing the scopes from the SMGs once again. I, once again, like history repeating itself, can't see Tachanka's LMG being used in the game. Yes, it has self-destruction, but in the majority of stacks, you've already got an operator that's got a pocket shotgun that can do all that anyway. Now, I've not even mentioned it, and he's got the Bearing 9 as a secondary weapon. He's got one of the best SMG secondary weapons in the game. So I guess that's just a nice little cherry on top to finish that all off. But at the time of this video's upload, this isn't out on the live server yet, it is only out on the test server. So technically, it's not 100% confirmed that it's going to come to the live build, but you know, 99% of changes that go to the test server make it to the live build anyway. I'm going to be extremely surprised if this gets any changes before it actually goes to the live build. So expect to see Tachanka running around in all your lobbies very soon with a bunch of ego kids swinging every corner. However, there is a bright side. Ubisoft did say that they are continuing to explore ways to find how this launcher will fit in the game. So this isn't the be all and end all of Tachanka. I still think they should maybe look into his LMG more. Definitely just remove the entire reloading and magazine aspect of his gadget. It simply doesn't fit. There's already too many aspects and variables already. And I want to see how the SMG actually works out with these scopes. I'm not saying they should remove it. I want to see how it actually plays out and how Tachanka actually performs. And a big part of me just wants to play Tachanka with a 2x scope. I want to see how good I can actually be with him. I'm not going to pretend like I don't pick weapons for their scopes. So guys, that is the current situation with Tachanka. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you tried this out in the test server? Are you looking forward to this coming to the live build? And be honest, does the fact that his SMG has scopes now make you just want to play Tachanka for a purely fragging reason? I know it kind of does for me. So guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, dislike it if you did not. Be sure to subscribe for more Rainbow Six content. I do lore, gameplay videos, videos like this, news, anything Rainbow Six, I cover it. Have an absolutely phenomenal rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.